ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. I, as always, am your certified Greg Wrangler. I feel like it may be easier today because we don't have a guest. It's just me and Greg. And so we're talking about a couple of things. We want to talk about follow-up campaigns. We're going to take a couple questions on sales and marketing from the, a couple of Facebook groups and all that good stuff. And if we get time, we might talk about this amazing book that me and Greg are both going through called PsychoCybernetics and some of the things that we're taking away from there. And there's a lot we could literally do an entire episode on that. But anyway,
we could.
Whew. But first of all, the junior grandmaster himself in the co-pilot seat, where you so belong. Greg,
yes, I do. I'm doing fan dibbly-dastic there, Johnson.
Fan dibbly-dastic, really?
Dibbly-dastic.
Thank you, Jim Carrey. I appreciate that.
Got a package, people, coming through. Andy, I'm doing great, man. We had our first round of Get Now business with our first class. Great turnout, great content, great everything. Super excited about how that's going to come up. We're going to talk about dates on when we're going to be doing our next one. Also, was really pumped. Prime Seller Leads, dude. These girls over at Prime Seller Leads, we've been coaching them for 5 weeks at this point. Today was our 5th week of coaching them. They have tripled their appointments. They got 45 appointments set for their agents last week alone. So incredibly pumped on them. Just epically cool shit, man. I'm just excited, man. It's been a good day.
Yeah, that's what Josh at PSL was saying, is that the agents are taking listings left and right off of those appointments. So there's lots of listings out there to take, guys. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that today in terms of follow-up campaigns. Like if you have a feeling, or if you are targeting people that live in a neighborhood that you want to work, how do you actually strategically go after them and put them into a follow-up plan that will put you at the top of their list mentally for who to bring in when they decide to pull the trigger and actually list their home, right? You want to be the first person in line. And so we've been thinking a lot about that through just because of some things that we're working on behind the scenes. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today in terms of what our thought process is, what our ideal kind of I don't know, what would you call it? Like you'd live in a utopian world, like what your follow-up program would be if it was the best, and then what would the average agent actually execute on. And so we're kind of working some things out. Me and Greg have been talking about this behind the scenes, so we figured that we'd bring that conversation out from behind the scenes to in front of all you guys, and give you a little bit of insight into what we're thinking and planning, and that way you can get some takeaways that you can incorporate into your own follow-up plans for sellers. So what is up, Ronnie? Pulling the we guys do exactly what Ronnie is doing, and like and heart us with both, like a double finger tap. Thank you guys. That helps Facebook know that people actually like and enjoy the crazy stuff that we're doing here on Facebook Live, guys. And if you're watching or listening on YouTube or one of the other channels, make sure to subscribe there and rate and review us and all that good stuff. We appreciate that you guys are already doing that, because that's how the show is growing. As you can see, we don't run any ads to grow the show. We're not putting it in front of running ads to cold audiences or whatever to try to get more listeners and viewers. So we appreciate you guys sharing the show. With all that said, with an excessive amount of SHs, let's turn to a question. Okay. SHs. Show. So I can't even say the word so. I kept saying show.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like you've been drinking, Johnson. I'm not going to hit the sauce a little early. It's going to be all right.
Well, I definitely hit the Starbucks early today, man. I was dragging at like 1 o'clock this afternoon. I broke it out. Of course, you were talking to me, Greg. That could have had something to do with it.
Fuck you.
Oh my God. All right, here we go.
Let the shenanigans begin.
Mike Higgins posted this on the lead gen description objections, and Mike accidentally called me the other day, which I found hilarious. I couldn't take the call naturally because I was on the phone again with Greg. But he called me the other day, and I found out later it was a butt dial. So, Mike, you're all forgiven, and I wanted to answer your question here. So he said, how do you respond to the following from a client? You get an offer for over-asking price on the first day, and they semi-jokingly say, man, you're going to make a lot of money for not a lot of work, huh? And after you pick up your jaw and half of the brains that you just blew out of your head off the floor and stuff them back into your head, what do you say, Greg?
Well, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, go fuck yourself. You say that inside your head. But what you say on the outside, what the rest of the world's going to say, you just kind of nod and smile and say, you know what, and that's exactly why you hired me, to get your home sold, to get you guys onto the next stage of life as soon as possible. Isn't that right? You motherfucker. Uh-huh. All right. No, but you don't even. I don't even address the fact if they're going to be that catty, then they're gonna be like that the entire way through, which means they're financially struggling at somewhere in their life because they're projecting onto you, going, well, why is this guy going to make all the money when you're not doing shit? And if you really want to break it down, itemize every single thing you do in a transaction, even the most mundane, and write it out and give it to them. And then do a breakdown of exactly how much money you really make on the transaction. Then they can shut up because you have this split, you have these fees, you have overhead, you have E&O, you have whatever else is going to be. Then you take this home, not that home, and it'll help them identify to the fact that, yes, your work is in direct proportion to what you're getting paid. And by the way, if they'll look at you, if you sell the house in like a weekend, then they're like, well, you didn't do much to get this sold. Be like, bitch, I got the fucking thing sold, didn't I? That's what he hired me for. So it doesn't matter they would have argued with you if it took you 6 months. They'd be like, why don't you get the house sold? And then you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because then if you get sold in 1 weekend, they're like, oh, you didn't do shit to do it. Just understand and show them, because they only know what you tell them or don't tell them. So show them the truth, open up the kimono, show them the goodness, and say, look, this is exactly what I'm making. Don't start laughing at me.
First of all, that should be the key quote for the show. Open the kimono and show them the goodness.
Open the kimono and show them the goodness.
All right, I have two thoughts on this.
Hold on,
Casey says fire them, which I find endlessly hilarious. As much as you'd love to, however, somebody just offered to pay you a giant commission potentially to get an offer for over list price. So I suspect that firing that seller client at that particular moment may not be in your best interest, but I get the urge.
Well, it's like kicking in her case, a shitty boyfriend to the curb. If he treats you like shit, you're like, fuck off, asshole, and move on to the next one. Well, he wasn't paying you a shit ton of money.
Yes,
we need to look at that relationship.
That's like kicking a boyfriend to the curb right when he buys you a diamond tennis bracelet. Give it a couple weeks. That's all I'm saying.
That's just so nice. Go fuck off.
Exactly. All right.
Oh my God.
So back to my two thoughts on this. So my first thought is, if you are, you can remove that objection by the way that you market properties. So what that tells me, when somebody's telling you that, Mike, and anybody else that gets this objection, now they may be forgetting all the work that you put in, but if they really see the value that you're putting in, and you put all of your work and a lot of your effort into getting their home staged and ready, and you were out there pounding the pavement and doing Facebook Lives of you out there inviting people to their open house, and you're doing cold calls and you're inviting the neighbors and you're doing all this stuff to put traffic through within those first couple of days to a week of it being on the market, and it works. Mm-hmm. And it produces the result that you and the seller agreed that they wanted, you will never get that objection.
No.
The reason you're getting that objection is one of two reasons, which is, number one, they have no idea the work that you put in, or you didn't put in the work because you didn't have a chance to, and that's a problem, right? Number two is that they were not on board with getting their home sold quickly. And that's a weird thing, because you've mentioned this, Greg, like every seller wants to get their home sold quickly and for top dollar. Mm-hmm. I disagree. Not every seller wants that. Every seller wants to sell for the most amount of money, but not every seller believes that if they sell it quickly, that also means for top dollar. A lot of people believe that if they sold quickly, it is specifically because they didn't wait for top dollar, right? So this guy gets an offer for over asking price. I guarantee you that in the back of their mind, they're wondering, I wonder if I just left it on the market for a couple more weeks, I bet we could get a higher offer.
Yeah,
when we all know it's usually 80% of the time it's wrong.
First offer is your 80% of the time going to be your best offer. But that goes back in the education of your client and having client control, not letting them run rampant like kindergartners, in a lawless classroom. Mm-hmm. Because God, that gets annoying. And it really does come down to you just controlling the situation, and controlling the narrative, and controlling their mind, their thought patterns, and that goes all in the pre-setup. That goes all before it goes on the market, talking about every opportunity and option that could come about. And then when one of them comes about, then it's like, oh shit, okay, check this out. Like I had a conversation with one of our listing clients. They're going back and forth on if they want to sell the home now or sell it with an investor, or if they want to go to the open market. And dude, I got a cash buyer ready to go, hard money loan on a property. And I got a call from my seller, yesterday. He goes, well, Greg, I'm not sure if I want to sell it for this amount of money, because if I take it out to the market, I think I can get more. Dude, this house has 6 inches of standing water underneath it with 4 different now non-active but were active leaks, and they disclosed they have stachybotrys, which is the black mold, behind the sink where they had an active leak for months, and the house is in complete disarray. Okay, and he's like, well, I think I can get this lofty amount of cash, but I need an extra $100,000. I'm like, Mr. Seller, we're pushing the mark at where we are now. If you try to get an extra $100,000, I don't think it's going to happen. What I think is going to happen, Matt, I think that they're going to go on the market. They're not going to listen to my advice. They're going to go on the market. We're going to get under what we have now, and they're going to lose cash because they didn't listen. And that comes down. That comes down to it. And I've gone over every opportunity in the world to make them see this. But at the end of the day, it's their house. They hired me. I work for them, no matter how much I tell them.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate but true.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate. They need the money out of this deal too. So anyways.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I want to jump into another question before I do, guys. Go check out getnowbusiness.com. It has the new dates for June. So if you're interested in joining us for that class, we had a great group of people there today, and we're talking about how to go after, like, strategically, who are the 2 types of people that you can go after that actually have a chance at getting you business now, as in the next 90 days, right? So go check that out. There's some more detail there. I won't belabor the point because I wanted to take this other question from Natasha Engel, who says, this may have been discussed before in the past, but I'm curious on what scripts listing agents use on sign calls with people who want to schedule a showing on your listing, someone you've never met before. So basically, Greg, scenario is you guys have a listing, person calls up, I want to schedule a showing. Great. Take us from there.
Well, okay, look at that 2 ways. Speaking purely out of safety, ladies, please bring a gentleman with you. If there's going to be a showing that's a complete cold showing into a house that's vacant or no one else is going to be home, it's a safety concern. Do not just think like, the world's rainbow sherbets, unicorns, and everything wonderful in life. Dude, fucked up shit happens to real estate agents at properties when they're there by themselves. So ladies, gentlemen, if you want to do this too, take a partner out there with you. Just for safety concerns. Now, let's say everything is roses, unicorns. What are you looking around for?
I literally have a fly flying around my podcast setup right now. It's very annoying. I'm guessing it was sent by you. Can you please call off your team of fly ninjas and stop trying to assassinate me? I know what this is about. I know that Greg's going solo. Greg's working on going solo.
It's a kamikaze, man. I can't bring him back. He's already gone. He's already launched out the tubes.
All right.
So the sign call. So Matt, you be the homeowner. You call me up, and you want to go see the house. So ring. Go. You want to go see the house? Tell me you want to go see the house.
Yeah, Greg, we're just driving by your house on 123 Smith Street. We love to get into to see that home. We're just out here kind of looking. We're hoping to get in this afternoon.
Absolutely. Hey, not a problem. You said your name was Matt, right?
Yep.
Hey, Matt. Love to get out there and show you the home. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions. Do you know the area very well? Are you around here, or are you just moving in here from out of town?
My wife is more familiar with the area, so yeah, I guess half and half. Like, she's pretty familiar.
Okay. Have you guys been speaking with a lender to get pre-approved, and are you guys using a real estate agent right now to help you look at homes?
Yes and no in that order. Yes, we've spoken with somebody. We are, like pre-qualified, and then like as far as a realtor, like she has someone that she's friends with in the business that has showed us a couple of homes, but we're just out looking today by ourselves.
Yeah, they're looking. Okay, so again, let me just ask you a quick question, just for my clarity. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. If let's say this was your dream home, would you be using the agent that you have, been looking at properties with to write the offer, or would our team have the opportunity to write the offer for you?
Yeah, I guess your team would have the opportunity. We haven't made any commitments to this gal.
Okay, not a problem. And I don't want to step on toes. I want to make sure that it's not a firm commitment, because that's the last thing I don't want to do is step on someone else's toes. Okay. In regards to the price point, since we don't have the price on the flyer, what pricing is comfortable for you in regards to the purchase price?
We're looking at $550.
$550. Okay, this one's priced at $499. I'm sure you probably already know that, but I figured I'd let you know maybe the price has changed. So it's in that price point for you. What's a good time that I could maybe come on out and meet you guys? Are you guys there at the property now, or would you like to schedule something later today?
Yeah, I mean we're kind of in the neighborhood now. Although if you can give us like an hour or two, we could meet you back here. That'd be ideal.
Okay, let's say 5 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock now. Let's say it's 5 o'clock. That I'll meet you at the property, and we'll be able to take a look at it. And I'll bring a couple other listings that are similar to this one in case this one isn't 100% correct for you. Maybe I'll pre-set up a couple of other showings just in case. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, and wait, what's the contact information for your lender? I'd love to chat with them super quick, do some agent and lender, quick chat.
It's John Smith at ABC Mortgage.
Ah, John Smith. Okay, I actually heard of John. John's a good guy. He holds a lot of open houses around here. Okay, great. Well, Matt, and what was your wife's name?
Julie.
Julie. Okay, now do you guys
have three lovely children? We have 3 lovely children. Shut up, Greg.
Damn it!
No, you cannot insult my children. Thank you. End of scene. End scene.
Casey says you bring a gun to a showing. No, Casey. Bad. You're not trying to kill
if it's a taser gun, I say go for it, but maybe not an eagle, desert eagle.
Maybe a water gun, you know.
I still say taser gun. All right. Okay, so that's good. So just to sum up, Greg. So you being you don't necessarily worry about your physical safety, obviously, because you're a large human. But so as long as it's like you get a good vibe from them, you're cool. They've talked to a lender. I specifically said I was pre-qualified, not pre-approved. Right. So I'm not as financially strong as if I had like a pre-approval letter in my hands. But you're willing to go out there and meet me anyway because you want to convert me into what's most likely going to end up being a buyer, not for that house, but for some other house. And in the meantime, you can hook me up with your lender and get me pre-approved through that lender. Is that the reasoning here?
Well, yeah. I want to. You apparently have the money, and at the very end of the conversation, remember, I'm like, oh, hey, what's your lender's name? I want to give him a quick jingle. I did that on purpose because we were yes. Why wouldn't you give me that final yes in regards to giving me the information? It's like a passing thought all of a sudden. Then I can call the lender up and go, hey, I got Matt and Julie. I'm going to be showing them a property at 123 Main Street. Just quickly, I've never met them before. They called off a sign. Just wanted to quickly get an idea of where they are purchase price wise. Our property's at $499. Is that in their wheelhouse?
Oh, they're pre-approved up to $330.
What a waste of a day.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Rodney does have a really good point here that says we are taught to get them in the office first. So, Greg, why? Yeah. So, what's the approach on that? What's the pros and cons versus just getting out there, getting into the neighborhoods, and meeting them in person at a listing versus the office?
Cons is a safety factor that we talked about. Casey, don't bring a gun; it's illegal. And for me at 239.4 pounds today, I weighed myself. I know exactly what I weighed.
And falling. That's right.
And falling. God, I hope so. Fuck me. I'm almost up to your kid's weight, just wood denting. But it's for a safety issue. And I like to be on site. So the pro is being on site, I read the body language of the buyers. What are they reacting to? What are they drawn to? So on and so forth. Are they drawn to the kitchen, the backyard, the master, the living area, the neighborhood? What's most important about that area or about a home to them? And I'm just watching them and just reading them. So that's the positive side of it. So the con of getting them into the office, it might be a little bit more of a struggle. I mean, you can do it. But the con is, taking them away from what they want to look at, which lessens your possibility of building a relationship because now it's more formal when you can just hop, skip, and jump out there and take a look at them. So that's the cons about bringing them in. Again, the good side about bringing them into the office, you can sit down and be professional with them. So it's a double-edged sword. You're screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't. But I made a decision in my business that I'm not physically threatened. I'm like, okay, I'll go out and meet your ass. Let's go. But for young ladies, women, men, if you feel intimidated by any way, shape, or form, I mean, please do always err on the side of caution. Never just say, fuck it, let's just do it and put yourself in jeopardy. That makes no sense.
Yeah, and if your business is to the point where you can justify having buyers come into the office, not that that's a bad thing, but if your time is really that cramped to where you don't need to kind of meet them out in the field, why wouldn't you just pass that off to a buyer's agent, take your 30%, 25% referral fee, and you move on to dealing with listings? You know what I'm saying? if you're legit, unless you're trying to build a buyer business, your time is better served going after listings, unless you just enjoy that, versus trying to get buyers into the office with you, because that is a tougher sell. Just like it's a tougher sell to get a seller out of their house and into the office with you to meet you. But some people do it, but it's because they're extremely successful, extremely busy, and they have legitimate lead flow that's over and above what they need to pay the bills, so they can afford to say no to the people that just say, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly right. And Matt brings up a good point. I mean, but again, it goes all the way back to them doing exactly what you tell them. They only know what you tell them. So if you say, this is how we operate, I can't wait to show you 123 Main Street. What we need to do is come on into the office super quick. It's office protocol. We can sit down, kind of make sure that, see if any other properties we might want to set up to go see additional after that. You can make whatever bullshit you want to make up. All right. I mean, it really is the case. And I got to figure out how in the hell Casey can carry a gun. I got to figure out how this is. She lives like a couple counties away from me, and she can carry a gun. What the fuck is wrong with my county? I got. Yeah,
Casey, put that in the put some detail here in because we're curious.
Explain.
Walter says, me and my teammate, which is his father, offer to attend showings of female agents if they don't feel good about the people. It's a courtesy. Great point. I'm sure there's other guys in your office that would be happy to escort you or meet you at a listing if that's an option too. And guys, first of all, just thank you for watching. Casey and Rodney and Joe and Walter and all you guys that are watching live on Facebook here, we appreciate it, guys. So if you would, which I'm preaching to the choir here because I forgot to do it myself, share the live feed out onto your timelines if you feel like this is valuable to other agents that you're connected with, or even to the general public to see that you're educating yourself on how you do what you claim that you do. Share this onto your feed. So Casey says, concealed carry weapon, we have 5,000 permits in the county.
Damn it. That just sucks balls. Because you know what? I've been trying to get a CCW here, and I mean, you have got to be like the president's cousin to get a fucking CCW over here, and then still they're not going to let you have one.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you can't. I mean, as we all know from Roger Clinton, you cannot trust the relatives of presidents.
No, you cannot.
I don't know if anybody under the age of like 28 gets that joke, but I felt like I went for it anyway because it was great. Just go look up Roger Clinton. All right, guys. So let's get into follow-up. So me and Greg were thinking a lot. We were talking a lot today about like what's the ideal, like what's the Rolls Royce like follow-up plan look like. So if you were handed essentially a list of people that have a pretty high likelihood of selling over the next, what would you say, 6 months or so, Greg?
So, yeah, give or take.
Essentially, how do you reach out to them in a very targeted way that gets them to flip into listings for you, but you have to reach out without telling them why you suspect they're going to list? Because it's really just like, let's say you knew with a pretty high likelihood they were going to list, but you can't tell them why. They haven't come through your site. They haven't raised their hand and said they're interested. You just believe they're going to list at some point in the very near future, right? So we're kind of like working that out for ourselves. So let's start with kind of what the Rolls Royce is, and then we'll bring it down a little bit to what's practical for the average solo agent to run. So if I had a bunch of resources and I could do anything I want, the first thing I would do is probably reach out with, what would I do? I would do probably postcards first, followed up by phone calls. And that postcard would be a direct offer for like a home evaluation, right? Home value estimate, right? So let's start there with the first step of following up with a home seller lead.
So it would be clear, it's not a reach around, Matt. It's a reach out. It's a very good clarification on this.
Thank you for pointing that out, Greg. The audience would have left very misinformed, and there would have been some lawsuits based on this episode. Like, hey, just wanted to give you a reach around about your home value.
Well, we are booty calling in our database, so you never know.
That's right. Booty calling for a reach around. All right.
Oh my God.
This is horrible. Guys, don't ever play us out in the open in your office. Unedited. It would be very bad.
Oh God, it'd be horrible. Okay, so actually, Matt, I'm going to counter your first touch point. I wouldn't say do a phone call. I would do a pop by on the first one. This is the one I used from when I used the divorce.
Rebo Gateway.
Yeah. Rebo Gateway. So this is what I do with them, and it works out very, very well, and you can use it on this list of people as well. What you would do is you'd reach out to them, and you just be like, "Hi, are you Matt?" Matt, go.
Yes.
Matt, hey, Matt.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, Matt. My name is Greg McDaniel. I'm a real estate agent here in the area with J. Rockcliffe Realtors. It appears that someone, I'm not sure if it was you or not, went onto one of our sites and was interested in the value of your home. And so what we do is, for everyone that comes onto the site, we come on out and personally hand deliver a report. Was that you by chance, or are you guys thinking about making a move?
No, I don't think it wasn't me. Maybe my wife, I guess, could have been on the site. I don't know. I don't know why she would be, but I guess it's possible.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know either.
Maybe she's thinking of moving out and was, I don't know. She didn't tell me anything.
She found the pool boy. Um, but then you just build a conversation at that point because they didn't reach out or they didn't inquire, but you're there.
That's really
building a
interesting, Greg.
conversation.
So you're telling me that if you just had a list of people that you thought were going to move, like let's say they were divorces or probates or whatever the case is,
Whatever, yeah.
you would show up on their door and you would start with a home value as if they had, but they haven't gone onto your site, but you would pretend as if they had.
Oh, it
Just
works
to start the
beautifully.
conversation. Really?
It's an act of beauty because in the divorce scenario, they'll say it's the wife who answers the front door, right? And I give her that spiel, and she goes, "No, it's probably my dick of a husband." And I'm like, this actually took place, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "We're getting a divorce," and I already knew they were getting a divorce.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. That sucks. It's one of those things in life that just. I'm sorry. Well, here's the report, and I just start with my forward conversation, family, occupation, recreation. Start building that rapport with them. What's the timeline? What are they looking to do? Are they looking to, sell the home? They're going to rent it out. They're going to keep it. They're going to gift it. Is one going to keep it? One's going to just, what's the scenario here, right? So you do the same thing when you first touch base. Obviously, they're not getting divorced, but they might be thinking about making a move. So you ask about, are you guys thinking about maybe making a move by any chance? And the script is by any chance. Because you're inquisitive. You're not like, so you're thinking of making a move? That's a little bit harder.
That's right. So would you like me to just write a check to me now or a little bit later? My last name is spelled John. Got to make sure it's SON. Don't do SEN. I'm going to have trouble at the bank with that. SON.
Yeah, exactly. And then you start figuring it out. So my husband might be thinking about it, might be getting a job transfer. We're just starting to think about what might happen, and it could be a couple of months, could be next week. We don't know. So you just start the conversation. So once you build the rapport, and if you didn't have the email address, but you'd get the email address because you're going to put them on a monthly drip for the value of their home campaign. We use a company called Corefact. Corefact does high tech and high touch. So the high touch is going to be the card, but then they have an opportunity to do an evaluation on the back end using a specific code that's associated with that property, so that when Matt logs in to see the value of his home, I get alerted to when he's logging in, so I know how many times he's doing it. So if he has out of 5 stars that they have, he's at like a 2 or a 3 or even a 4, holy Christ, I am definitely going to be hanging out with Matt quite a bit. At the same time, once you leave that property, Matt, my guesstimation, well, what I would say to do is a couple of things. Since you have the email campaign, right? Well, you have the email address. You put them on an 8x8 program, which is 8 postcards for 8 weeks. Now, a lot of the times they talk about in marketing that it takes 7 to 8 touches for you to start renting space in their brain, so that you will become the person that they will go to in case they need a service. In this case, it's real estate, right? They did a case study. When was this? It was a long time ago. But they did an 8x8 touch campaign for a fictitious agent into a neighborhood. Then they waited, I think, 60 days, so 2 months, went back out into that neighborhood and polled the neighbors to ask who the number one agent was in the area. It was the fictitious agent. I know, right?
Oh, that's funny. All right.
So you're doing an 8x8 on a monthly campaign. I have my whole thing written down here. I'm going to cheat.
Okay.
Okay. So then, what else would you do, Matt? We've done the personal touch.
You would have started with a pop by and getting their email address. I would have started with a postcard backed up by a phone call to see if they got the postcard, and if not, to offer the same thing, which is the home evaluation, which I would have said. Which I love your idea of just going based on following off of an online lead, but let me go the other direction, which is just you don't know. So essentially you would just do a straight cold circle prospecting script. Hey, we're just doing a couple calls around the neighborhood. There was a great home that just sold, a few blocks over, and there's a lot of buyers that are still looking around. We're just curious. You're not happen to be thinking about selling your home anytime soon, are you? No, you got the typical no. And then you would just go at that point, great, I've been getting that all day long. It seems like such a great neighborhood. People really love it there. I'm just curious, just for myself, what do you love? What keeps you guys there? do that whole thing. Then you say, then you go for the email. So either way, the point of both of those, like you would do more of a high touch, just it's a little bit further up that pyramid of communication where it's, a pop by versus a phone call. But either way, the objective is the same. You're not going to get the listing on that call or on that pop by. You're not even going to get a listing consultation on that first visit. They don't know you. They don't care. You are nothing to them. What you're looking for is just the entrance point to start building the relationship. And you want a means to reach out to them that's personal, right? So you want their best email. So that's same thing. For the end goal of my initial phone call would be the end goal of your pop by, which is just offer a thing of value in exchange for their email, right? Which is, well, hey, at least, I know it sounds like you're going to stay put, but I'm sure you'd like to see kind of what the home values have done and how that's affected your specific property. So if you'd like, I can still send out a report that'll give you an idea of the ballpark value of your home. Would that be of value to you? Just so you can keep that on hand for whenever you do, decide to make a decision on whether to move or not.
Yeah, and your verbiage right there. I've never really, these are people that would potentially have a high probability of selling. And so these, if you were to know that in advance, you can be like a black belt ninja, Navy SEAL rappelling from the ceiling inverted, ready to pounce.
Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Exactly.
Descending down through a web of electronic lasers or whatever.
Well, naturally. That's the only way to do listings these days.
That's right.
So at the same exact time, so let's say we've gotten to this point, but then I would start a surgical campaign, a Facebook ad campaign using that email address and directing directly at them. So you have a list of how big you want to make this list that we're following up on. 50,
let's just go
100?
Let's just go with 100.
A nice round number. Okay, 100 people. So you start launching a campaign at $35 a week, $5 a day, so $140 a month. Of you just pinging the living shit out of them. So they're getting postcards for the first 8 weeks, first 2 months, right? Then they go on a monthly drip campaign of what the value of their home is going to be. Then you're also going to be doing, handwritten letters, or they'll hand a little letter to them on a monthly basis saying, hi, how's life? Check this article out, whatever it's going to be. Come down and hang out. Oh, invite them to a monthly, hey, let's go get beer and nachos, wine and cheese, monthly event. And they're going to see you online.
Steak and bicycles.
Steak and what?
Filet mignon and Harley Davidsons.
Yeah, those match.
I'm sorry. So I'm going to go back to Council Bluffs, Iowa on this one. Steak and Shake, or Quaker Steak and Lube. You can come to the biker night for steaks and
Quaker steak and lube. That sounds
Quaker
nasty.
Steak and Lube. It does. It is. It's not a great scene.
So you're telling me I'm a piece of meat and you're gonna bring lube? That's nasty, Matt. No. Hey, you're the one that came up with it, pal. It's nasty.
That is an actual restaurant, just for anyone listening or watching.
Is it really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not a joke. Quaker Steak and Lube. That is not. First of all, that is not a joke. That is an actual place. That is a restaurant in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I think it's part of a small chain. Number one, and number two, they do have Harley bike nights. It's Wednesdays, and I know this because I'm from that horrible, horrible shitbox of a town.
Oh, dude, that just made my day.
Yeah.
They got to think about the names before they actually put it out there. Oh. Okay, moving on.
So inviting them to a monthly event, monthly handwritten notes, which are great. So at 100, what do we figure this out? For 100 people, you've got about 22 to 25 working days in the month. That's about 4 note cards a day. So you're talking about a total of, 10 minutes. Like my hand would start to cramp after the third card, and I'm a little slower than you guys. Maybe it takes me 15 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be long either. Hey, Matt. Hey, Julie. Just thinking about you guys. Hope the summer is treating you well. Give me a call when you get a chance. Great. There it goes. It's done and easy, guys. You don't have to write a whole fucking novel on this thing, okay? You really don't. Actually, you don't want to, because my attention deficit disordered ass would be like, blah, 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 blah. Ooh, free nachos. But to make it short.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we're doing that. And Matt, you brought up, do we want to talk about what we do every third month? Do we want to share that bit of goodness that happened?
That's entirely up to you. I think we certainly could. It's a good idea.
I love this idea personally. I think it's the clinch pin in the follow-up. Since this is your idea,
that's a Gregism right there. If I ever heard one, clinch pin.
It is a clinch pin.
No, it's a clincher, and you've got a linchpin, and then you smush those words together to make a clinch pin.
Clinch pin.
That's like, what did you say the other day? Douche grunt?
Douche grunt.
Yeah. Oh man, Greg is going to be famous for the. He's going to start getting into the. Well, what is that? The Urban Dictionary. Clinch pin. Okay, this is the clinch pin of the whole thing. All right, go ahead, Greg.
So what it is, guys, I mean, we interviewed Derek Evans on one of our podcasts out of San Diego. He has a real estate show about listing presentations. And one of the things that he said that won the client hands down almost every single time was the fact of giving some sort of personalized gift when you go to the listing presentation. So Matt had a great idea. He's like, well, if they're going to sell in 6 months, why not bring them every 3 months, bring them some sort of little personalized gift? And so, I mean, go to their Facebook, go to their LinkedIn, look at the little things that are going on around in their life, right? And then bring them it could be a little pamphlet, a little booklet, it could be a little, a little garden gnome. It doesn't fucking matter, man. Just go do something. And if you just can't figure anything out because you're that inclined, so inclined that you can't think for yourself, go get them a bottle of wine. Well, year to date where it would be best. Like, so if it's a hot summer afternoon in August or something, dude, go get them a nice white that they can chill and have with a salad. Or, I don't know, just do something like that. But think ahead on it and go from there. And have a variety pack. If you run across someone, God forbid, that doesn't drink, fuck off, dude. They're weird. Don't trust them. Run, run. I say run, like all the right. Wind.
Yeah. All right. My parents say screw you too, Greg.
I'll start with my mom. So whatever.
Yeah, but we were talking about this earlier, like because we were going through this in the Getting Out Business class this morning about how to find people on LinkedIn by your mutual connection or shared interest. Especially hobbies are great for this. So if you find someone in that group of 100 that you share the same kind of interest with or a hobby, amazing, because then you know exactly what you can go and get them. It could be even something as simple as just dropping by Barnes & Noble and buying the latest magazine off the rack that has anything to do with their hobby or their interest. Like, that's the easiest, like, it's going to be current. Most people don't subscribe to magazines anymore. Even if they have a subscription to that magazine, who the F cares, because you were considerate enough to drop by and drop off like a copy of their favorite magazine, even if they happen to have a subscription already. Dude, if somebody did that to me, if somebody like went and they're like, I want to connect with Matt. So they reach out and then, we end up connecting on LinkedIn, we connect on Facebook and yada, yada. And then I get a package in the mail. And I pull it out, and it's the latest issue of Modern Drummer magazine with a little note that says, hey, I came across this the other day in the bookstore and thought of you. Enjoy. Talk to you soon. Like, I'd be blown away.
Oh, yeah.
And that cost, 10 minutes of time and $5.
Or just drop it off. I mean you keep wanting to mail shit to people.
Well, well, nobody knows where I live. Come on, nobody's going to drop off something to me.
That's very true.
My address is strictly hidden. It's been redacted from all official documents.
Yes, it has been. WITSEC still tries to find you. They're like, where the fuck did we put him? Damn it.
My file is in a locked cabinet. Nobody can find Ryan.
Oh, my goodness.
WITSEC can't find me. Well, ever since that case back in 2006 where I testified against the Gambinos, man. It's, man, you guys have no idea.
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah. So you'd either mail it or drop it off. Either one is fine. It's going to have more of an impact if you actually pop by and you drop it off. And if you guys want to, like, Matt's picking the books, I'm getting more and more into books. But if you're able to go buy, I don't know, 20 copies of a book that you really liked, like the book that really impacted my life was Follow Your Passion, Find Your Power by Bob Doyle. And I would love to give that book away. I mean, that thing changed the shit out of my life. You just say, hey, Matt, was just thinking about you. This book really changed my life a lot. Here's a copy for you. Figured it was, worth a shot. I mean, it could be something that simple.
Yeah.
But do it twice, and that's going to have a massive impact. So that's every 3 months. But also, guys, on Facebook, you go to messenger.com, and that's going to bring up your Facebook Messenger on your computer. Now, on your handy-dandy little cell phones here, guys, you can do 15-second little videos into Facebook Messenger. But if you go to messenger.com and you do a message off of your computer here, you can do way longer messages from Facebook Messenger video into a specific person. You can also put all these people into a list of specific people, like follow-up or potential sellers or whatever else, as many as you can. And you can do Facebook messages to a group of people so they can all get that message. Really depends on, like, if you want to do an update. Hey, just want to give you guys a personal update. The market's shifting quite a bit. This is what we're seeing on our values. You can do a market update via Facebook Messenger video to a specific list of people. That's a fucking good idea. I just came up with that. Better write that down, Matt.
It's great in your little Holly hobby notebook. All right, good.
Holly notebook. Fuck you.
Okay.
Pad.
That's right. All right. Well, in the time we have left, I want to get into PsychoCybernetics a little bit. So let's set aside the whole follow-up campaign thing. We'll talk more about that as things come down the pipeline. But that's the general gist of like how to get that kind of Rolls-Royce type campaign kicked off. I mean, pop buys and things like those are free. It's gas and your time. What did we figure out was the most expensive thing of that? It really just was the postcards for the first 8 weeks.
That's 400. Well, for 100 people, that's $480 for the 8 weeks. So it's $4.80 per person for 8 weeks. And that's at 60 cents a card. So it's really not an expensive proposition. And then the monthly Corefact home value update was $3.60, so $360 for 6 months. Personal note hand cards at 48 cents per mailing. It's $2.88 to send that out once a week, or once a month, excuse me. And so another $288. So we're just under like $1,300 at that point. And and we had the Facebook Messenger dropped in there at $140 a month. So, I mean, that you really, that's $840. We forgot to calculate that in. But whoops, we kind of missed that 1,000. Rounding error. But I think that would be that would help you really get going. Sue, candles. Yeah, candles would be a great way to create something to drop off. That'd be very, very helpful. I talked to a friend of mine, and we were talking about something, and she said that she doesn't own a flashlight. I was like, get the fuck out of here, seriously.
Oh, wow. Actually, that's terrible that you say that. I think I might be among those people.
Johnson!
I know. I'm a terrible homeowner.
So I went down and I bought her a flashlight. Haven't been able to give it to her because I think it's stupid not to have a freaking flashlight. And I got one myself. It was a great excuse for me to pick one up for myself because I've been looking at it forever.
All right, good. So you can't yell at me too much because you don't have one either.
No. I have flashlights all over the place. I just wanted that one.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flashlights.
All right. So PsychoCybernetics.
It's a book. It's great.
Yes, it's a book. It's great. Sure, Greg. Well, how far are you in, by the way? You're listening on Audible. I know you're at least a couple chapters in. Where are you at? Do you know?
Yeah, let me take a look. I'll pull up my my Audible account right now and tell you. But I mean, what it keeps going back for me in this book is goes back to imagination. The only thing that limits you in life is your imagination. That's what really stands us apart from any other living creature on planet Earth, is that we can truly imagine anything that we want. And the storehouse of infinite wisdom up in wherever they keep it, is something that I think is we don't give ourselves enough credit that we can actually achieve something or be something that we want to be. But everyone can achieve something a bit bigger than what they are. And I just keep going back to the limiting beliefs and limiting imagination that is just, what else have we done? We all carry around a blueprint of our own reality. So, Matt, you literally have a blueprint of exactly who you are and what you can or cannot do. And that's exactly to what you perform. I have the same thing. Everyone listening to this or watching this has the exact same thing. You do it without even knowing it. Yeah. And how you can start rewriting your blueprint to then see into the future, and how that visualization, like the greats of the greats, it was Arnold Palmer, I think. He would visualize every single golf swing, but he would visualize it. He would see it, hear it, smell it, feel it. The ball cracking, connecting with the club right at the right place, watching the grass fly up, the ball, with the backspin landing right where he wanted it to be. Visualize it happening, and then step in and make it happen. He would hit it just right, just the way he saw it every single time. And the fact that they did a test with, was it tennis players, Matt? That the basketball, shooting basketballs?
Yeah, it was a free throw.
Free throws. The one group could not shoot free throws for a week or whatever. They could just practice them, seeing it happen in their mind for 5 minutes a day. They get on their chair, their Barker lounger, and they would sit there and just visualize it happening. Then they had another test group that would go actually out and do the free throws. They found that the people that did the free throws mentally perform better than the people that went out and just did the free throws.
Mm-hmm.
So what could you practice in your day-to-day life? What could you practice in your real estate life that would have that you could have a major impact on if you just sat and visualized yourself succeeding?
Mm-hmm.
That's what some of the stuff I'm taking away.
You brought up. It's interesting that you brought up role playing, which we think of as an interactive exercise.
Yes.
But it's just as much. It can be just as much in your mind. If you have a problem and you can't visualize getting a buyer on board with something or taking a listing, like if you can't visualize it going successfully in your head, it's going to be very difficult for that to work out successfully in real life, because you'll sabotage yourself on the way to get there subconsciously, or you'll hold yourself back by fear and you won't ask for what you want. So that was one of the things that really stuck out to me, was that the idea of seeing that stuff in your imagination first is actually where the idea of role playing came from, not just as an interactive one-on-one with another human being to kind of play through scenarios. It started off as a thing that you do in your imagination with yourself, kind of seeing yourself in different situations with the prospects that you run across and kind of solving those problems in your mind. That really hit me. And just the thing that the book kind of filled in was there's some gaps, I guess, that it filled in that really made some of the things that I've heard about, just positive thinking and success philosophy and stuff really click and make sense. And I'll explain what I mean. So everyone's heard the phrase, you're a human being, you're engineered for success. And it just comes across as, I don't know about you, but it comes across to me as like an empty slogan.
Yeah.
Right. Then now I get the background of it because of this book, which is, by the way, was written in 1960. Now that I understand the back end of that and how they came to that conclusion, it makes perfect sense. Right? So the idea is that we have a subconscious mind that is made to help us get to where our conscious mind sets the goal for us to get to. Right? Yeah. So we may not know the means to get there. Our subconscious is provided to us to help get us the means to get there. So our conscious mind sets this goal, and we have this picture of where we want to go, and then our subconscious mind works to figure out the means to get there. And so he makes the point that, birds don't have to be taught how to migrate. Squirrels don't have to be taught how to gather seeds and nuts for the winter. Even a squirrel that's born in the spring still starts gathering up for the fall of that year, even though they've never been through that before. It's instinctual. And he makes the point that God didn't shortchange human beings. God gave us this amazing mechanism that we have in our heads that's meant to serve us. And most often what we do is we use it for the negative by constantly dwelling and using our imagination to think of all the bad things that can happen, or just to reinforce our limiting beliefs. And we unknowingly use our own subconscious mind to sabotage ourselves when we actually have been engineered for success. We've been given this thing that's supposed to help us hit the goals that we want to hit. Our subconscious mind is supposed to help us find the means and find the plan for how to get where we want to go. The problem is we keep giving it bad goals.
Right. And a couple of things. The reticulator part of our brain, which is at the base of our skull, it's meant to keep us alive. So us playing the negative and bad scenarios is natural to us because it's meant to keep us alive. When in regards to you have to unlearn that part and understand that putting the positive things, the positive goals in front of you is something that can be delivered to you. I've had things that, Matt, you and I have talked about this off air, some things that have just literally walked off the paper to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Holy shit, this showed up right in front of me. This is unbelievable. Down to the nth detail. It's unbelievable. But that also happens if you focus on negative things will show up in your life. And once you start being cognitive and aware of that, it really will help you start seeing the Tony Robbins has a saying that says, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And I remind myself of that on a consistent basis. Now, I'm going to digress here super quickly. Going back to the role playing, Matt, it hit me hard on that when I was listening to that part, because on role playing, 90% of role playing is mental. Okay? It's you laying down in bed, sitting in a chair, but you role play with yourself as you don't need another person. You just can do it. You can have an argument in your head and work through the solutions, and then be able to come up with the correct answers with whatever problem you have in front of yourself. So it's 90% mental, 8% physical, 2% logistics. How to do it.
Yeah.
So if you can conquer the mental side of it and start having authentic arguments with yourself, or go into a listing presentation and throw everything at you that you can. Sit there and have a debate. Figure out how you get around that. Once you do the debate, even if you don't do it that well, your brain's going to start getting conditioned to those questions. Even if you don't get the exact question, your brain will get conditioned to coming up with a proper solution, so that when you step into the real game, step into that listing presentation or the buyer negotiation or whatever it is, if you practice for the real thing, when the real thing shows up, you'll be able to tackle it and be able to conquer it much more effectively and efficiently than if you just waited around for someone to do role playing with you, when honest to God, all you need is yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I had another thought about role playing in relation to, he was talking about how, just like a guided missile, an interceptor missile that's kind of guided on its way to its target, like we figure out our way to a target by negative feedback, right? Oh, got to make a little course correction here, a little course correction there. We kind of zigzag our way. Once we do that, he makes this amazing point that our body and our nervous system remembers the success and throws out the failures and says, okay, now let's do it. Now that I've succeeded, let's do it more like this in the future, right? And so the process of learning, the adjustments that you make get smaller and smaller, because your body remembers, your nervous system remembers the success and tries to get closer to that. One application that I thought of it, Greg, that we've kind of fallen down on, I think, and tell me your opinion on this, is when we're going through and training an ISA team on how to get better at what they do. I think it's important that we need to show them what success looks like first, so that they get that ingrained, and so they get the basic script and the basic outline of what a successful call looks like first, before you start throwing the nasty, the gnarly, the most obscure objections their way. I think a lot of people try to go right towards that. They go right towards thinking of the most obscure objections possible. Well, what if they're from Australia and their mom's in New Zealand and I have to video conference with them to get the listing? Like they did, just the people come up with the craziest stuff. I think we're doing them a disservice we probably should have started off with, okay, let's map out the ideal call. Let's role play that, role play, just the basic ideal. Here's how it should go 90% of the time. Then start throwing some of the obscure stuff at them once they've already got kind of the pattern for success ingrained in them a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And you know what? We may have done a disservice, but they're also tripled their freaking, their appointments. And did it in 5 weeks. So I don't think we're doing that bad of a job.
No, but I want to get better, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, of course. But I mean, that goes back to everybody. I mean, if you guys want to really it's like when you first started walking, if you have children, or when you were a child, dude, you didn't do a 10K right out of the womb. Dude, you got to, boom, on the butt, boom, on the face, boom, on the butt. You learn how to use those muscles, because your mind is a muscle. And so as you use it more, you're going to fall down. You're going to face plant. It's not going to be pretty sometimes, but you're going to learn. Your muscles are going to learn. So you won't do that on a consistent basis. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we when you guys are doing role playing, start at the basics, start at the bottom. I mean, who was it? There's a basketball coach that every single year he would coach his new team. He says he'd come into the room and goes, "This is a basketball. This is a shoe. This is how you tie a shoe." And he would go, and everyone's looking at him like, "What the?"
Sounds like John Wooden.
It could be John. I think it is John Wooden. Yeah. And he would break it down so basic so that you could build. You have a foundation, and move up from there. Yes, we all know what a fucking basketball is. Yes, we all know what a tennis shoe is. Most of us. And we ask most of us, unless it's like Matt's kids, when they can only use Velcro because those chubby little fingers cannot tie knots. Let's be honest. Okay. But able to learn from the basics and teach yourself that, then you can come up with a stronger objection handlers, because you have a good base to lean on. And I think that, yes, we should all work on that quite a bit. And I love the heat-seeking missile part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I do too.
Because it does correct all the time, little tiny adjustments. You got anyone who's ever had a conversation with me off air and we're doing role playing? I do it to Matt all the time. I constantly change the script, like every time I do the script. Annoying. Because I want to see. I'm the missile. I want to see what's going to work, what's not going to work. But I know where I'm going to land. And I don't know. I just think that people get too wrapped up on the mechanics.
Yeah, I agree. And we definitely get too hung up on negative feedback or having to course correct. And then he makes the point in the book that we way over focus on kind of the negative experiences that we have on the way to success, thinking that something's wrong with us, not realizing that no, that is the process. Like, that is it. And as you get better and better, yes, those adjustments will get smaller and smaller. But I heard a great, oh my God, one of the best drummers in the world, and one of the recognized as one of the best drummers of all time. He said, he made the comment that, look, I screw up all the time. You just don't notice it, right? Because because he knows what he's the one that understands in his mind what he's trying to get out, and he can tell those extremely fine differences between what actually comes out once it gets interpreted by your muscles and what comes out on the drum set versus what was in his mind. Everybody on the receiving end, because he's such a master, they're only listening to the end product going, well, that's awesome. How could that be improved on? Well, that is the path of mastery, right? You're getting those course corrections get so small that they may be invisible to other people, but you're still messing up by your own standards. You're still messing up. You're still, there's still course corrections and learning that needs to take place based on what's in your head versus what actually comes out in reality. And that's always the way it's going to be. And it's definitely set me free a little bit from, not worrying so much about everything going positively. We're going to have, that it is the natural process of success to have those course corrections and get that negative feedback, and that's okay.
It is okay. And the other thing, Matt, I want to dovetail on that really quickly before we wrap this up. You and I could go on for hours about this shit. But the thing is the fact that you have to take the ego out of you to be vulnerable to other people and their criticism. Because if you allow yourself to be imperfect, if you allow yourself to be open to suggestion, that's where the real growth takes place. If you feel that you already have it buttoned down, but you could use some improvement, but you're unwilling to see it, well, you're only going to grow to a certain level. You have to be willing to break through that glass ceiling, put your ego on the shelf and be okay. How much do I suck? Where could I use improvement? What small tweak could I use? And this could be personal. This could be professional. If you're in a relationship and shit's going sideways, well, dude, own it. Own to the fact that you're probably at least a 50% part of that problem, and be able to tear yourself apart and look at it and then be able to rebuild it in the proper way. Same as a business, same as in script, same as in everything else. You're not perfect. None of us are. Fuck, Matt and I definitely aren't. We are two whack jobs on camera. You know what? And we carry that right through the rest of our lives.
It's not just on camera.
Oh no. But,
all right, guys. Well, let's get ready to wrap it up. We might be able to take one more quick question or something. But anyway, guys, go check out getnowbusiness.com. At least watch the video if you guys are not ready to sign up right now. We're still getting some of the details changed out because literally the first class was today. So we still had people signing up for May's sessions this morning, right up until the last minute. So we haven't changed out all the details as far as the Zoom links and things like that. So bear with us on that. But if you're listening or watching to this later, all the links and stuff will be switched out. So go to getnowbusiness.com and check that out. You can also go to reuncensored.com. You can get all of our back episodes. You can get Greg's favorite scripts, which is free. That's got all the text of all your favorite scripts with video links so you can see them acted out, all the phrasing and the tonality. And then, Greg, quick word about connecting with us.
Yeah, guys, I really want you guys to go follow us on Facebook. Please follow both Matt and I. Please, and hear the words coming out of my mouth. Do not friend us. I cannot take any more friends. Matt will not accept friends, but we will accept followers, because we want you guys to be alerted to what we're doing when we're doing it on, Monday through Thursday, guys. I do my 4:30 show when I do live prospecting calls. If you guys want to watch how I do prospecting calls with a fucking disclaimer I have to put in there, and you want to take away the fear out of it, that if I can do it, you can do it. And I got to give it up to Stefan, bro. Dude, Stefan just texted me. Now, Stefan is out of the Central Coast, guys. He's a newer agent, and he doesn't take no in a good way. He doesn't take no for an answer. And Matt, as of a few seconds ago, remember he was on our Circle Prospecting, and then now he's on our Get Now Business. This morning, he informed us that he took a listing from using our Go for No script. Well, Matt, he just took the other 2 listings he had appointments for today. He has 3 new listings. Boom.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations, Stefan. That's phenomenal. Good God. I have to give a shout out to Mike Holbrook. Otherwise, he's threatening to moon us. By the way, that's a great way to get us to shout out on the show. So Mike, Stefan, Walter, guys, everyone that's watching us live and commenting, we really appreciate it.
I'm gonna moon you.
Oh, guys. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for sharing this, like writing it on a whiteboard up in front of your office like one guy did. Thank you for telling other agents about us. Thanks for sharing the live feed onto your Facebook page and your profile and all that, guys. Eddie says, thanks, fellas. You guys are awesome. You are awesome, too. Thank you, Holly, for watching. Guys, we really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, whether you want the YouTube, the video versions, or the audio versions on iTunes or Stitcher. Guys, if you want to help out the show, one of the best ways to do it is hop on over to iTunes and give us a rating and a review. That is one of the key things that iTunes looks at in terms of whether this is a quality, real show or not. I hope we have a real show. I think we have a real show. But if you'd like to help us prove to the world that we have a real show, if you'd like to just say thank you for all the content that we put out, we would really, really appreciate it. Just a quick rating and review on iTunes. So with that said, yeah.
Guys, you know what? Thanks to you guys, we're getting 50,000+ downloads a month now. Thank you to you guys. How cool is that? Matt just shared that with me the other day.
That was just on iTunes. That's not counting the tens of thousands that we got on YouTube.
Yeah, that is awesome, you guys. So thank you, and share it out. Again, follow us on Facebook, guys. I'll be doing a live prospecting call a little bit later at 4:30. Did you just forget to turn your light on and just turn it on at the very tail end?
No, it's getting dark outside. It's a little cloudy here, so I realized that there was not the proper lighting. My lighting ratio is off, so I had to fix that.
I just thought, like, really, it's been off the whole time. In the last 30 seconds, you're like, click, looking good now.
I usually never have to turn it on because there's usually enough sunlight coming out right here.
All right, you guys, follow us. We love you. Tell a friend. And then, as always, peace out, ninjas. We gone.